Welcome. Today you will hear the real story of David Goggins and why it matters. He is someone who turned pain into power, fear into fuel, and weakness into mental strength. This is not only about muscles, running, or Navy SEAL training. It is about your struggle, your fear, and your excuses. It is about what to do next. It is also about how to break those excuses with discipline and a stronger mind. By the end, you will understand how a broken boy with asthma, racism, trauma, and learning disabilities became one of the toughest men on the planet. You will learn how to stop hiding behind excuses. You will learn how to lead your mind instead of letting it lead you. You will also hear why most people never reach their potential and how to break that pattern. You will see what it means to become uncommon among uncommon people. While you listen, you will build your English too, including vocabulary and understanding. If you want more stories like this, subscribe and stay with us for the full journey. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Faced Darkness. David Goggins was born on February 17, 1975 in Buffalo, New York. His childhood was not calm and it was not safe. It was full of fear day after day. His father, Travis Goggins, owned a roller rink business. From outside, people assumed the family had a good life. Behind closed doors, young David and his mother lived in a nightmare. His father was abusive, especially toward David's mother. He beat her, controlled her, and treated David like a slave. David worked at the skating rink late at night, sometimes until 2 a.m. Then he still had to wake up early for school with almost no rest. He said, "I didn't have a childhood. I had a job and trauma." The hardest part was staying silent. He had to smile at school and act like everything was fine. Inside, he felt scared, lost, and angry. He struggled to read, had a learning disability, had asthma, and stuttered. People called him stupid, and it stayed with him. People laughed at him, and teachers did not believe in him. Over time, he stopped believing in himself, too. Later, David and his mother escaped from his father and moved to a small town in Indiana. He hoped life would improve, but it did not. He was the only black kid at school. Every day, kids bullied him, used the N-word, and made him feel unwanted. He said, "Everywhere I went, I felt unwanted." He began to hide. He faked being sick to skip school. He became afraid of everything, tests, people, life. He was failing school. He started lying, cheating on exams, and pretending to be someone he wasn't. But deep down, he knew, this is not who I want to be. One day, David looked at himself in the mirror, shirt off, overweight, scared, and full of self-hate. He was almost 300 lb. He told himself, "That's the kind of man I want to be. That's who I was born to be." But he faced a serious barrier. The Navy SEALs had weight limits, and he was far above them. He had to lose more than 100 pounds in 3 months. Many people would laugh, doubt, or quit early. David Goggins decided this would be his fight, not a wish. He chose, "This is war. This is my new life." He stopped eating junk and he committed to the work. He began to treat each day like training for a new identity. He did not wait to feel ready. He acted first, even when it hurt. He kept his focus on one goal, and he refused to negotiate with his old habits. He worked out 3 times a day, and he kept showing up. When David Goggins finally entered the U.S. Navy, he carried one clear goal. He wanted to become a Navy SEAL, the toughest of the tough. This was not like a normal job or a normal training plan. It meant choosing suffering on purpose and staying steady under pressure. It demanded mental control, not only strength. Becoming a SEAL was more than push-ups and swimming. It meant freezing cold water, punishment, mental torture, and long hours of pain. It was designed to test your limit again and again. It is called badass training. Basic underwater DMOLITIONSEAL. If you want to understand him, you must understand this environment. Inside that training, 1 week breaks most men. It is called Hell Week, and it changes everything. David entered his first SEAL training class with hunger and confidence. He had lost over 100 lbs in 3 months. He had already fought through abuse, racism, and obesity. He believed he was finally walking into a new life. Now he stood among strong men, and every man was tested. Hell Week began like a nightmare, and it did not slow down. You get 4 hours of sleep and your body never fully recovers. In 5 days, you are pushed into the ocean again and again. You run with boats on your head and you shake from cold. Instructors scream nonstop trying to break you. You carry logs, crawl in sand, roll in mud, and run until your feet are destroyed. The point is not only pain in your body, the real goal is to attack your mind until you doubt yourself. And Goggins broke, at least in that moment. He got injured, and he was pulled out of training. They told him to go home, and many people would accept that ending. Most people would quit forever and say, "At least I tried." They would turn the failure into a reason to stop. But David Goggins chose a different rule. He said, "I don't care how many times I fail. I'm not leaving until I become a SEAL. I'm not going anywhere." He treated failure as feedback, not a final answer. He decided the story was not finished. He healed his injuries and entered Bud-S training again with a new class. This time he got double pneumonia and his lungs filled with fluid. A doctor said, "You can't continue, you'll die." They pulled him out again, and the shame could have ended him. Many people would protect their ego and walk away. He stayed focused on the one identity he wanted. So he had entered SEAL training twice and failed both times. He felt embarrassed, hurt, and disappointed, but he refused to quit. He held a belief that most people never fully accept. You are in control of your mind. Your mind is not your master. You are. With that belief, he prepared for a third try, even when it sounded unreasonable. Now came the third try, and it carried a simple count. 3 different classes, 3 different chances. Most people would have given up long ago because the pain repeats. But David Goggins lived by one rule. I will suffer, I will bleed, but I will never quit. He did not wait for comfort to appear. He moved forward while still afraid. This time, Hell Week was worse than before, and his body began failing. He had stress fractures in his legs, plus shin splints and bone damage. Every step felt like his legs were breaking. Every breath felt like knives in his chest. Still, he kept going because quitting felt worse than pain. He chose the long fight instead of quick relief. He taped his legs with duct tape, and he peed blood. He could not walk straight, but he refused to ring the bell. The bell is what quitting SEAL must ring to go home. He said, "I'd rather die here than live one more day as the old version of me." That sentence was not drama to him. It was a decision about identity made under pressure. After 3 hell weeks of pain, broken bones, sickness, and mental torture, David Goggins graduated from Bud-S. He became a Navy SEAL, changing from a scared, overweight, bullied boy into an elite warrior. But the twist is that it was not his final goal. For him, it was a starting point. He did not want a badge only. He wanted to know his true limit. He kept going, trying to learn how much pain the body and mind can handle. He said, "I want to know what I'm truly made of. I want to know what's on the other side of suffering. I want to become more than people think is possible." David's Hell Week was not just physical. It was mental, emotional, spiritual. That is why the lesson lasts beyond the training. His story carries one lesson he repeats through action. Many people quit far earlier than they believe. He says most people stop at 40% of their potential. If you keep going through pain, you meet a stronger version of yourself. Pain becomes the path, discipline becomes the weapon, and suffering becomes the teacher. On the other side of hell, you find greatness, not comfort. Chapter 2. The Ultra Runner Who Beat Pain. After David Goggins became a Navy SEAL, most people would say the story was complete. He had already done what sounded impossible. He had survived Hell Week and proved doubters wrong. He had become one of the toughest men alive. But for him, that result was not enough. He still felt an empty space that demanded more. Deep inside, he believed there is always more. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done. And he was not done. So he entered a new battlefield, not war or guns or the Navy. He stepped into ultra-marathons where the enemy is time and pain. These are extreme races of 100 miles, 200 miles, sometimes more, through deserts, mountains, and sleepless nights. Again, David Goggins did something people doubted. After becoming a SEAL, he lost some close military friends in a helicopter crash during a mission in Afghanistan. It broke his heart, and he wanted to raise money for the families of fallen soldiers. He needed a way to do it, not just a wish. Then he discovered a famous race called the Badwater 135, and it became his target. The Badwater 135 is a 130-speed run across Death Valley, one of the hottest places on Earth. But he could not enter it immediately. To qualify, he had to finish a 100-mile race in 24 hours. He had only 3 days to prepare, which sounds almost pointless. Still, he chose to show up. He treated the short time as a test of will, not a reason to quit. So David arrived at a small running event in San Diego. He was not a runner, and he did not even have the right running shoes. He had no special training, no experience, and no support team. But he had something stronger than all of that. He had a mind that refused to quit. He started running, not because it felt good, but because it mattered. At first, it seemed simple. 10 miles, then 20 minutes, then the pain grew. By 30 minutes, his legs started cramping and the body began to argue. By mile 50, he was falling apart. His kidneys began to shut down, which is serious. He kept moving anyway because stopping would have made the pain useless. He tried to turn each mile into proof. His feet were bleeding and covered in blisters, and he could not stand straight. He had broken bones in his feet, and the situation became humiliating too. He pooped in his pants because his stomach could not take it anymore. He had every reason to stop, and nobody would blame him. Still, he sat down, taped his feet, drank a small protein shake, stood up again, and finished all 100 miles in under 24 hours. That race did not just hurt his body. It damaged it deeply, and he could not walk properly for days. His toenails fell off and his muscles were torn. Doctors warned him about permanent damage, but he did not speak like a victim. He said he found something inside that pain. He found a side of himself he had never seen before, and that discovery changed his direction. That is when he realized something simple and harsh. Pain can unlock a door, and power can be on the other side. If you can suffer longer than most people will tolerate, you can reach what most people never reach. This is not magic, and it is not luck. It is endurance in the moment you want to stop. For him, that moment became a habit, not a rare event. After he qualified, David Goggins signed up for the Badwater 135. People call it the world's toughest foot race. It is 135 mm through Death Valley heat, including 49 degrees C and 120 degrees F. You run on hot black pavement with no shade and no comfort. The environment is the opponent, and it does not care about your feelings. That is why the race has meaning to him. Goggins did not only finish the race once. He became one of the top finishers again and again, and he ran it multiple times. He ran many ultramarathons, including 100-mile, 200-mile, and 48-hour non-stop races. He also set a world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, over 4,000. He did not chase medals to impress others. He chased proof that the mind can be trained. He did not do it to look special. He did it to show that the mind is a weapon if you control it. Goggins describes a mental trick he uses under stress. He calls it the cookie jar, and the picture is clear. When he is tired and wants to quit, he reaches into that jar. He pulls out memories of past wins and uses them as fuel for the next step. In that cookie jar, he stores moments he survived and overcame. He remembers the abusive childhood, the SEAL training, the 100 miles with broken feet, and the years of racism and fear. Those memories become evidence, not pain. When most people say, "I can't go on," Goggins says, "I've been through worse. I can do this too." He turns the past into strength instead of a reason to hide. David Goggins became a superhum not because of his body, but because of his mindset. His story teaches a simple point that people forget. You do not need to be special, and you do not need perfect conditions. You do not need motivation that comes and goes. What you need is discipline, self-talk, and the refusal to quit. That is the part you can control today, even on a normal day. You need to be your own hero, not wait for rescue. He believes growth requires suffering on purpose, not comfort by accident. He pushes himself to do something hard every day. He does it not because it is fun, but because it teaches him who he is. He says, suffering is the path to self-respect. When you do something that breaks your limits, you earn the right to feel proud of who you are. Chapter 3. That pride is earned, not given. Can't hurt me. His book, his lessons, his mindset. After David Goggins became a Navy SEAL, an ultra runner, a pull-up world record holder, and a symbol of mental toughness, people asked questions. They said, "How are you even real? How can a person go through so much pain and not break? What's your secret?" David didn't give a short answer. He gave a full blueprint, built from hard experience, and he shared it with the world. Instead, he gave the world a book, and it became a movement. The book changed millions of lives and made people look at pain differently. It is called Can't Hurt Me, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds. This is not only a story about him. It is a guide for building an unbreakable mind. The ideas are simple, but they are not easy. If you follow them, they can change how you act. Truth bomb number 1. Stop lying to yourself. David says the most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. Many people wake up and tell themselves weak stories. They say, "I'm tired, I'm not good enough, it's too hard. I'll start tomorrow." David calls it the path of weakness. Those sentences feel normal, but they quietly shape your whole day. He asks you to hear them clearly. He says, stop lying. If you're fat, say it. If you're lazy, admit it. If you're wasting your potential, look in the mirror and face it. Why? Because you cannot change what you won't face. This honesty is not to shame you, it's to free you. The point is not cruelty. The point is truth, because truth gives you a starting line. Without it, you keep walking in circles. Truth bomb number 2. Callous your mind. Think about how hands get calluses over time. If you lift heavy weights every day, the skin becomes harder and tougher. David says the mind works the same way. Each time you do something difficult, you build strength inside. It can be waking up early, running when tired, studying when bored, saying no to junk food, or speaking when scared. Small, hard choices add up. Over time, those hard choices make you harder to break. He says when life hits you hard, don't crumble. Use the pain to become stronger. That line is not about enjoying pain. It is about using pain like training. When you expect difficulty, you stop acting surprised. When you prepare your mind, you respond with action instead of panic. That is what he means by mental calluses. Truth bomb number 3, the accountability mirror. When David was young, he used sticky notes on his bathroom mirror. The notes were direct and harsh. He wrote things like, "You're fat, lose the weight. You're dumb, study harder. You're scared, face it." He admits it sounds cruel, but he says it saved his life. He wanted a mirror that could not lie to him. He called it the accountability mirror, and he used it every day. Each night he looked and asked, "Did I do my best today, or did I waste it?" This small habit forces you to stop blaming others. No more excuses like parents, school, or luck. Only one question matters. What did you do today to change? It is simple, and it puts the responsibility back in your hands. Truth bomb number 4, the 40% rule. Goggins says that when your mind says you're done, you are only at 40% of your true limit. If you think you can only run 1 mile, you can probably run 2. If you think you cannot study more than 1 hour, you can go for 3. If you feel like quitting today, you still have 60% left. The rule is not about being perfect. It is about testing your first thought. He proved this idea by running ultra-marathons on broken feet. You can prove it in a smaller way, with one more step. It might be one more page, one more minute, or one more honest try. The goal is not to destroy yourself. The goal is to stop trusting the first voice that says stop. That voice is often fear, not truth. When you learn that, you gain control. Truth bomb number 5. Suffering is the path to freedom. Many people run from pain and avoid difficulty. They chase comfort and then wonder why they feel stuck. David Goggins says comfort can become a cage. He teaches that each time you suffer, you move closer to your strongest self. Suffering does not mean hating yourself. It means choosing discipline over comfort and choosing growth over pleasure. He says the hard road builds you, while the easy road keeps you the same. He warns that the easy one can lead nowhere. He says the most beautiful things in life live on the other side of suffering. The point is not suffering as a lifestyle. The point is courage as a lifestyle. When you face what you avoid, you become freer. That freedom is the reward. Truth bomb number 6. No one is coming to save you. David grew up in pain and was abused, bullied, and ignored. He had learning problems and people laughed at him. Nobody believed in him for a long time. Then he realized a cold truth. No one would rescue him. No one would hand him a new life. If he wanted change, he had to become the person who creates it. That moment changed everything for him. This truth can change your life too if you accept it. Stop waiting and stop hoping someone will fix it. You must become your own hero even when it feels unfair. Can't hurt me equals can't control me. The message is not only about pain, it is about power, and power starts with responsibility. When you stop fearing what people say, you become harder to control. When you stop caring about comfort, you stop making weak deals with yourself. When you stop running from pain, you become freer inside. And when you are free, no one can hurt you the same way. Not fear, not failure, not rejection, not the past. You have already fought your demons and you know you can survive. Goggins didn't write, "Can't hurt me" to make money or become famous. He wrote it to wake people up. He wanted to say, you have more. You can do more. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the only one holding the key to your cage. He wanted people to see their own power again. He wanted them to stop living as victims of old stories. He wanted action, not inspiration only. This book became a global bestseller and spread across countries. It changed lives and it pushed people to do hard things. It became a movement of people becoming stronger than before. Not to impress others, but to prove it to themselves. They wanted to feel earned pride, not borrowed confidence. Chapter 4. Never Finished. His second book, his legacy, and his final message to you. This is where he pushes the idea even further. After Can't Hurt Me became a global bestseller, many people thought he had reached the top. He had survived childhood pain, became a Navy SEAL, and pushed through broken bones. He ran 100-mile races, completed Hell Week 3 times, and inspired millions. Many would say that is enough. But he does not believe in the word enough. He believes there is always more work to do inside yourself, even after success. He believes one simple truth: you are never finished. That became the title of his second book, Never Finished. Unshackle your mind and win the war within. This final chapter is about the lessons and the legacy of a man who would not stop. He believed you can always become more. Even after fame, he did not slow down. He trained harder, ran more, and pushed further because progress was his identity. But in secret, pain returned in a different form. He started feeling strange pain in his chest. He ignored it for some time, like many driven people do. Then doctors found a serious problem. He had a hole in his heart, a condition he had since birth. It had gone unnoticed for years. The discovery was shocking because it challenged everything he had done physically. This condition could have killed him, and the doctor was clear. They said he should have never been allowed to become a SEAL. They said he should have never run ultramarathons or done extreme physical activity. But he had already done all of it with a broken heart. He had been fighting death without knowing it. When they told him he would need heart surgery, he did not react with fear like most people expect. Did he cry or panic? No. He laughed because life had thrown pain at him again, and he felt ready because he had trained his mind for moments like this. He said, "I'm not afraid of pain. I know how to suffer. Let's go." He had heart surgery, recovered, and then went right back to training. This is the pattern of his life. Pain shows up, and he answers with discipline. In Never Finished, David explains a powerful trap. Many people stop growing because they think, "I've already done enough. I've already improved a lot. I'm better than most." He says that belief can quietly kill progress. He teaches that greatness has no finish line. You are not running a race, you are building a lifestyle. He says you must wake up each day and ask what more you can do. Then he offers tools, not excuses. He shares his most powerful ideas, starting with one: the savage mindset. He says many people live with civilized minds. They want comfort, avoid pain, and seek balance first. But he chooses a savage mindset, a warrior's mind. He says, "I don't train to win races. I train to dominate my inner weakness. I train to silence the voices of fear." For him, this mindset means you do not take days off because you feel tired. You do hard things even when no one is watching. You train your mind to say, "I can handle anything." 2. The mental lab. David created what he calls a mental lab, a place inside your brain. In this lab, you study yourself honestly. You ask, why did I give up today? Why did I avoid that difficult conversation? Why am I still making the same excuses? Most people never do this. They distract themselves instead of learning the truth. They distract themselves with TV, food, scrolling, and blaming. But the mental lab forces you to analyze your mind like a scientist. You look for patterns, and you name them. Then you fix what is broken one piece at a time. It is not glamorous, but it works. It turns self-control into a skill, not a personality. That is why he treats the mind like a project. He keeps testing it. 3. Stay dangerous. Goggins says, don't aim to be peaceful. Aim to be dangerous and choose peace. Being dangerous does not mean violent. It means ready, prepared, and capable. Ready to face stress, failure, pressure, discomfort, and pain. He says, when life attacks, will you be the hunted or the hunter? The message is about strength with control, not anger without control. 4. The path is always hard. Walk it anyway. He repeats that the journey is not easy, fun, or fair. But he says it is worth it because pride waits on the other side. On the other side of pain is pride. On the other side of fear is freedom. On the other side of weakness is your true strength. He wants you to see difficulty as the price of change. If you accept the price, you can earn the result. David Goggins is no longer only a man. He has become a movement and a symbol of mental toughness. He is proof that the human mind can push farther than most people think. He says the body is stronger than you believe. Your past does not define you, and excuses are a choice. Pain is not the enemy, but a door to greatness. That is his message again and again through action. He never wanted to be famous, and he says that clearly. He wanted to help people understand one thing. You do not need to be perfect, but you do need to be honest. Stay hard, stay disciplined, stay dangerous, and never forget you are never finished. You are reading this not only to learn his story. You are here because you want to change your life and you want proof that change is possible. So here is what he would tell you to do. Get up earlier than you want to and face the day on purpose. Do something hard every single day and do not wait for motivation. Run toward your fear and embrace discomfort without excuses. Be brutally honest with yourself and use your pain as fuel. When your mind says stop, answer with the line he lives by. I'm just getting started. You are not finished. You are just beginning. If you reach the end of David Goggins' story, you proved something already. You are hungry for change, and you want more from life. You want to grow into someone your younger self would respect. Now you know you do not need to be born strong, lucky, or perfect. You need to take the first step, even when it feels small. That step is a decision, not a feeling. You just need to decide, I will not live like this anymore. David Goggins did not come from privilege. He came from pain, fear, and nothing, and he turned it into power. And so can you without waiting for permission. No matter where you are, no matter how broken you feel, and no matter how far behind you think you are, you can change. You can grow, one hard choice at a time, until your life looks different. You can become unstoppable, not because life is easy, but because you stay consistent. Get up, stop waiting, and start moving. Remember this: you are not finished. You are just getting started. Yes, you can do it if you keep your promise to yourself. Now go and build the strongest version of you, because the world has not seen your full power yet. Welcome. Today you will hear the true story of David Goggins, a man who learned to turn suffering into strength. This is not only about fitness, running, or Navy SEAL training. It is a story about fear, shame, and the excuses that quietly control many lives. As you listen, you will also build English fluency, useful vocabulary, and stronger listening skills, one clear step at a time. By the end, you will understand how a boy with asthma, trauma, racism, and learning struggles rebuilt himself from the ground up. You will see how discipline can replace excuses and how a focused mind can lead when emotions feel loud. Along the way, you will pick up simple phrases you can use in daily life, and you will hear a few tools that made his mindset harder to break. This biography begins in Buffalo, New York. David Goggins was born on February 17, 1975. From the outside, his family looked fine. His father, Travis Goggins, ran a roller rink business, and people assumed the home was stable. Inside the house, the reality was very different. The early years were full of tension, fear, and a kind of pain a child should never have to carry. Behind closed doors, David Goggins and his mother lived under control and violence. His father was abusive, especially toward David's mother, and David felt trapped in that world. He worked at the skating rink late into the night, sometimes until 2 a.m., then woke up early for school. He rarely slept, he rarely relaxed, and he never felt safe enough to be a kid. Years later, he described it in a blunt way. He said he did not get a childhood. He got work, fear, and trauma instead. What made it worse was the silence. At school, he had to pretend everything was normal. He forced a smile even when he felt scared and angry inside. That kind of hiding can slowly teach a person to distrust their own feelings. School was not a safe place either. He struggled to read. He had a learning disability, and he also had asthma. When he spoke, he sometimes stuttered, and people used that to mock him. Some kids called him stupid. Some teachers gave up on him. After a while, he started to believe the worst things people said about him because it felt easier than hope. Later, David Goggins and his mother escaped and moved to a small town in Indiana. He expected relief, but the pressure only changed shape. He was the only black kid in his school, and the bullying was constant. Day after day, classmates used racist slurs and made him feel like he did not belong. He felt unwanted everywhere, and that feeling pushed him into isolation. He began to hide from life itself. He faked being sick so he could skip school. He feared tests, people, and failure, so he avoided them when he could. His grades dropped, and he started lying and cheating just to survive the system. Deep down, he knew he was becoming someone he did not respect. That quiet shame can become heavy, especially when you feel alone. One day he looked at himself in the mirror with his shirt off. He saw an overweight body, a tired face, and a mind full of self-hate. He was almost 300 lb. He was working in pest control, spraying for cockroaches, and each day felt the same. He woke up miserable and went to bed feeling useless. Then a single moment gave him a new image of who he could become. He watched a documentary about Navy SEALs. He saw men training in freezing water, crawling through sand, carrying boats, bleeding, and pushing past limits. Something inside him locked onto that scene. He decided that was the standard he wanted for his own life. Then reality hit fast. SEAL programs have strict weight limits, and he needed to lose more than 100 pounds in 3 months. Most people would call that impossible and walk away. David Goggins did not. He treated it like a personal war. He cut out junk food and began working out 3 times a day. He suffered through days when his body resisted and his mind begged for comfort. That period matters because it shows a lesson you can use too. When your goal is clear, you can build discipline even when motivation disappears. When he finally entered the U.S. Navy, he carried one main target. He wanted to become a Navy SEAL, one of the toughest roles in the military. But this was not a normal job training plan. It involved cold water, exhaustion, constant pressure, and deliberate hardship. The program is called BUD-S training, and it exists to test what a person does when everything feels painful and unfair. Basic Underwater DMOLITION SEAL. Inside that training, 1 week has a reputation for breaking most men. It is called Hell Week, and it pushes people into sleep loss and non-stop strain. David Goggins arrived full of energy, proud of the weight he had lost and the life he had escaped. He believed his past had prepared him to handle anything placed in front of him. Hell Week began with a simple truth. You get 4 hours of sleep. In 5 days, you are pushed into the ocean again and again. You run with boats on your head. You carry logs, crawl in sand, roll in mud, and keep moving while instructors scream without stopping. Your skin burns, your muscles shake, and your mind starts looking for any excuse to quit. This torture is not only about the body. It is designed to crack the mind. During his first attempt, David Goggins's body broke down. He was injured and removed from training. He was told to go home. Many people would accept that and say they tried. David Goggins chose a different response. He decided failure would not decide his future, and he would return until he earned the title. He healed and came back for another class. This time he developed double pneumonia. His lungs filled with fluid, and a doctor warned him that continuing could kill him. He was pulled out again. 2 attempts, 2 exits, and another reason to feel embarrassed. Yet he kept one belief alive. He believed a person can learn to direct the mind instead of letting fear direct the person. Then came the 3rd try. 3 different classes meant 3 chances to quit for good. He made a brutal promise to himself. He would accept pain, blood, and embarrassment, but he would not choose the easy way out. This time, Hell Week felt even worse. His legs developed stress fractures. He had shin splints and bone damage that made each step feel like breaking glass. He taped his legs with duct tape. He peed blood. He could not walk straight, but he would not ring the bell that ends the suffering. In those hours, his body was failing, yet he kept moving. That stubborn action is the point. Discipline is not a feeling, it is a decision you repeat when your emotions are unreliable and your comfort is calling your name. After 3 hell weeks, he graduated from Bud S. The scared, overweight boy became a Navy SEAL, and he proved he could change his story. But he did not stop there. He wanted to know how much pain a human body and mind could carry without quitting. That curiosity became another open door. In a moment, you will see how it pushed him into a new world of struggle. His next lesson was simple and hard. Many people stop early, long before they reach their real limit. He often described it as quitting at 40% of potential. The number matters less than the message. When you feel finished, you may still have more in you. Pain can become a path, discipline can become a tool, and suffering can become a teacher that forces you to meet a stronger version of yourself. After becoming a SEAL, most people would think the story was complete. For David Goggins, it was only a foundation. He believed there was always more to test. He said, "You do not stop because you feel tired. You stop when you are done." So he entered a new battlefield, not war and guns, but ultramarathons. These races can be 100 miles, 200 miles or more through deserts, mountains, and sleepless nights. Around that time, he lost close military friends in a helicopter crash during a mission in Afghanistan. The grief hit hard, and he wanted to raise money for the families of fallen soldiers. He discovered the Badwater 135, a famous race across Death Valley. To qualify, he had to complete a 100-mile race in 24 hours. The challenge was worse because he had only 3 days to prepare. He showed up to a small running event in San Diego with almost no preparation. He was not a runner. He did not even have the right running shoes. He had no special plan, no experience, and no support team. What he did have was a refusal to quit. He started running. 10 miles felt fine. 20 miles hurt. By 30, his legs cramped and his mind began to bargain for an exit. By mile 50, his body started shutting down. His kidneys were failing, his feet were bleeding and filled with blisters. He could not stand straight. He had broken bones in his feet and his stomach collapsed so badly that he pooped in his pants. He had every reason to stop. He sat down, taped his feet, drank a small protein shake, stood up again, and finished all 100 miles in under 24 hours. That race did not just hurt him. It wrecked him. He could not walk well for days. His toenails fell off. His muscles were torn, and doctors warned him about lasting damage. Still, he said the pain showed him a part of himself he had never met before. He realized suffering can unlock a door. On the other side of that door, there can be power, control, and a stronger identity. Now qualified, David Goggins entered the Badwater 135. It is often called the world's toughest foot race. It runs a 130 fin through Death Valley with extreme heat like 49° C and 120° F on hot black pavement. There is no shade and no comfort. He did not only finish. He placed near the top more than once, and he returned multiple times to test himself again. He also ran many other ultramarathons and endurance events. Some were 100-mile races, some were 200-mile events, and some were 48-hour non-stop races. He also set a world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, over 4,000. He said he did not chase medals or praise. He wanted to prove that if you control your mind, it can become the most powerful weapon you own.